Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the City Center Committee. This is for Friday, September 5th, 2025. With me here today is Councillor Rowlands, and we have many members of our public service that will be joining us today. So thank you for all of the public service for their hard work. And I'd like to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands in Anishinaabe, Innu and Dakota people, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis, and our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. First up, I think, is absence for Councillor.
So moved.
Okay, all in favor, and motion is carried. Okay, first up on the.
Sorry. Just also if we can have a motion to move the minutes from the June 24th and the
So
June
moved.
23rd.
Okay, motion is.
June minutes.
Motion is carried.
And July 3rd, yeah.
And July 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Motion is carried. Okay. And number 1 is semi-annual summary.
We would have delegations first.
Okay.
Okay.
Steve West is up.
So first up will be Steve West, Chair of the City Center Local Bike Group, to be heard in support of Strathcona Street Summer Greenway designation and active transport enhancements. That will be report 4. You'll have 5 minutes to give your presentation.
Morning, Chairperson Gilroy and Councillor Rowlands. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today regarding active transportation improvements on Strathcona Avenue. As chair of Bike Winnipeg's City Centre Local Bike Group, I'm here to express our strong support for your motion. Neighborhood greenways have proven to be an excellent solution in many cases where separated infrastructure is not feasible. The traffic calming effects of neighborhood greenways make for lower stress bike routes that are also more comfortable for pedestrians, creating a more traditional neighborhood vibe and allowing everyone to experience the greater sense of community that comes with lower speeds in residential areas. In line with the motion's request to review signalization at the crossing of major roads, we also recommend consideration of the installation of a half signal at Strathcona and Portage to complete the connection to Raglan Road. That would provide a connection across Portage to what is already a shared use sidewalk on the south side of Portage that acts as a detour over Omans Creek when it floods out the bridge. Plus, a second connection across Omans Creek along the Riddle Avenue right of way would also be created through the development of this bike route. The half signal would also make a safe crossing for transit, which is an added bonus. We'd also like to point out that the development of a safe cycling route along Strathcona, as proposed by Councillor Gilroy, complements a number of plans for improved cycling facilities in the area, including pathways planned along Wellington Avenue, Sargent, and the old Oak Point rail line as part of the Empress Corridor design study and the Westlands project that the Winnipeg Trails Association and the Lloyd Axworthy Rail Relocation Study have championed. Also, plans for a low-stress bikeway along Wellington Avenue leading to Sherbrooke Avenue, or Sherbrooke Street, and Cumberland Avenue. Plans to upgrade from Sharrows and painted bike lanes to fully protected bike lanes along St. Matthews. Planned upgrades and extensions to the downtown bike lanes and potential connections into the Brooklands and Weston neighborhoods, including potentially along the Oak Point Rail right-of-way to the future North Winnipeg Transit Garage and potentially to a future connection across the CPR main line to the Northwest Hydro Corridor pathway via Spruce Street and Flint Street. So you see that every little piece that's added helps connect the overall bike network. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
Questions?
Other than, may I have a copy of your presentation? I think Dr. Axworthy would love it.
Sure. Actually, I submitted it as a
You did.
submission.
I didn't catch the Axworthy reference to rail redesign, but you did. I have it here. You're right. Oh, there it is. Page 2. I've got it. Thank you.
Good.
And I appreciated you adding, I don't know if we have it in this one, about the half signal, because of course we do, that was an idea, like, is to connect it to the Wolseley and
Yes.
Taven. So I appreciate you bringing that forward. Thank you very much for
My pleasure.
coming and supporting that. Thank you.
Of course, thank you very much for all you're doing.
Thank you. All right, okay,
Okay,
Mr. Rodriguez from H5 Architecture.
indeed. Next up, we have Helio Rodriguez from the principal architect of H5 Architecture Inc. to be heard in respect to plan approval 51 Roslyn Road, report 3. And you'll have 5 minutes to give your presentation.
welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak towards this development. What I thought I would give you is an update as to the status of the development itself, unless you want me to go through the project description, because I think the report is very well prepared and very well descriptive. So as of today, there was some sewer work that needed to be completed. That was one of the conditions of the June 2022 rezoning agreement. So that sewer work was in relation to the increased density for the project that needed to be accommodated, and the capacity increased. So on that note, I'm happy to report that work as of today, 100% been completed and carried through and approved by the city. As well, we are about just over 90% complete on the riverbank stabilization of the project itself. We should be completing that portion of the project in the next 2 weeks. After that, we're literally waiting for the permit to be released so we can start filing. So in terms of the development and the project moving forward, it's full steam ahead right now. The only thing holding us back is getting the building permit to move on to the next stage. So that's my presentation, my report. So I'll answer any questions you may have. There's any.
Okay, any questions?
No, thank you. I couldn't agree more about the report, and if it was up to me, you wouldn't even be here for plan approval because we saw this in June, I think. So welcome back, but let's send you on your way.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I look forward to updates through the chair.
Thank you.
And that's all for delegations today.
For delegations. Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, shall I throw some motions at you?
Well, do you want to do the delegated authority first?
More than anything, this is such a great tool.
Yeah,
I like using it. I might use it this week. So moved, delegated authority. It helps us get the grants out the door. We still deal with grants like we're going to in the next item, but I think all counselors use this tool and it is all publicly reported. So moved. So moved.
and motion is, it's
This-
hard when there's not an extra person to say the motion is granted, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then item number 2, litigation reserve.
Thank you. So this for reasons that Ms. Fabry explains, the public service has rejected, and it requires us to waive council adopted land dedication reserve criteria to proceed. I'm going to move that we do exactly that. Land dedication reserve does have criteria. We populate this grant funding through development, and I can't think of a better use of development money than the Augustine Center, which is a church that is beloved in Osborne Village. Everybody will note the steeple project that it's shining now in Osborne Village, but this is to create a performance space. We have a lot of performance spaces in Fort Rouge, East Fort Garry. We have a lot of recording studios. We like our performance spaces, but this is in particularly important, and I do believe it's in. It's a community space in Osborne. So it's one of those reasons why, counselors are here. We know our spaces. We know that it is, it is of community use and of community value. And while the funds are utilized for parks and recreation facilities, it's really important to say that a local councilor knows their rec facilities, and Augustine Center fits that bill. Choirs perform there. plays perform there, and children perform there. And Augustine Center is that community center. They host a daycare. They've got capital plans in the works, and so they host the Oak Table, of course. So, anyways, so moved for 50,000.
And happy to support your project. Motion is carried.
And just for clarity, we're going to waive criteria 1 and 3 for $50,000, subject to the following condition: that approval of final plan specification for the project by the city of Winnipeg.
Correct. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. And I'll be going to the executive policy committee.
All right, that motion was carried. Plan approval for 51 Roslyn Road.
Yes, the submitted plans, and I'll say the same thing that I said to Mr. Rodriguez. They're gorgeous. The same thing that we said back in June. What an excellent report from the public service here. And I in particular am pleased with the reiteration of our design goals in this neighborhood in the report. So thank you very much for that. So moved.
Okay, motion is carried. And now on to the Strathcona Street. And the only thing is I was looking at the Strathcona fund to see if we maybe should add in that
Like-
needs a half signal.
Yes, I
So
was
maybe
gonna ask
a
you
D.
that.
Yeah, can we put it in, if you don't mind, Councillor?
You sure can. So, through the chair, the addition of the half, I'm going to call it a light, but signal, should be included in new F and E part, EFG part. And then it's missing that everyone do all things. So, a plan for implementation in spring 2026. I think a new F part should be the light, and then a new G part.
Okay.
Yeah, so F would be the signal,
That'll be the signal. Okay.
for safety, additional half signal. Oh,
Okay.
or that's
Or-
perfect.
okay.
Legit.
And what was the last
Yeah.
one, sorry? What do we have an each, or was it just?
That the officers do all
the
things,
proper
but it's
officers.
going to Public Works.
Sure, now the
Probably
proper.
don't need it.
Okay.
So
Then,
Yeah.
just curious on that, does it still say a plan for implementation for spring 2026?
Correct,
Okay,
yes, that's
perfect.
condition F,
All
yes.
right, perfect. All right, the
your
motion,
signal's G
yeah, okay.
right now.
Okay, so Councillor Rollins moved the motion, so motion is carried. Thank you, Councillor Rollins.
Anytime.
Okay,
So then we'll break for the hearings
do
at
you wanna
10:30,
do
or
your
do you want to do new motions?
I would suggest the break. and then we
Yes,
can clarify
sorry.
the motion part.
okay,
Sounds good.
perfect. All right, we're gonna be coming back at 10:30. Thanks, everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to the public hearing portion of our meeting. First up on the agenda is the closing part of Hugo Street North.
Okay, started off. So just to clarify, we're starting at 10:46 at public hearing. Okay. In accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter and the Development Procedures Bylaw, the process the committee will follow is the applicant will be heard first, followed by those in support of the application. Next, those registered in opposition are heard, followed by those registered for information. Finally, the applicant may return to speak in rebuttal to comments made. However, no new information is permitted. Please note that when your name is called, it is your opportunity to speak. However, you are not obliged to do so. For a more in-depth overview of the public hearing process and other information pertaining to what happens before, during, and after a public hearing, please consult the City Clerk's Department website. Please note that all public hearings are recorded and will be part of the public record. Should you have any questions after the hearings have concluded, please contact the City Clerk's Department. As Madam Chair stated, item 1 is a closing part of Hugo Street North adjacent to 670 Corridon Avenue under file DAC 4/2025. The process the committee will follow, that was read before, and yeah, okay, that was all clarified. I'll hand this over to the planners now. For
That'll
now,
be
Peter on there.
Hi, welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Peter Kamoli, and I'm with the Property Planning Development Department. I'm here to do a formal presentation of this application. So here it goes. Amateur law on behalf of Colosseo Ristorante Italiano has applied to close the portion of Hugo Street south of Corydon Avenue, as shown on the miscellaneous plan that's attached to my report. The purchaser wishes to close and purchase the street to accommodate a patio extending from the existing restaurant. The purchaser has a registered summer patio for the 2025 season. This closing application was circulated to city departments and utilities, and the public service does not support the proposed street closing for the following reasons. Public Works Department states, if the parcel redevelops, Public Works would lose the ability to make future street modifications. It would restrict future use of the right-of-way for wider sidewalks, utility placement, and impact the continuity of the right-of-way. Water and Waste Department states that water planning objects to this proposed street closing as there is an existing 250 millimeter water main immediately adjacent to the proposed closing area. The city requires space within the right-of-way to excavate down to the water main as required. Should council decide to approve the proposed street closing, it is subject to the following conditions. The purchaser or assignee must submit a development application proposing a plan of survey that creates a single parcel to facilitate consolidation of their adjacent holding, with the portion of right-of-way being closed. The purchaser or assignee is responsible for obtaining approval and meeting any necessary conditions in respect of the above noted development application. The purchaser or assignee is responsible for all costs associated with the above noted development application, the preparation of the closing plan, survey plan, any associated documents, and the registration of all necessary documents at the Winnipeg Land Titles Office to facilitate the legal closing and conveyance of the closed public right-of-way. The closing plan, mylars, closing bylaw, land transfer, and any associated documents will be released together with the plan of survey and associated documents for registration in series at the Winnipeg Land Titles Office. Additionally, Manitoba Hydro has identified facilities for which easements will be required. I have also enlisted help from Public Works and Water and Waste, so if councilors have any questions in regards to CD's objection, they are available to answer any of your questions. And I would conclude my presentation. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, I would like to hear from Water and Waste. When this circulated, the Urban Planning Division initially had said no concerns. That doesn't mean, as the holder of the report, we now don't have concerns. So if we can hear from Water and Waste, that would be good. And I see them there, I think, now.
Yeah, hi there, Matthew Nicol with Water and Waste. So sorry, what exactly is your question about the urban planning response?
Sorry, that's not my question.
Okay.
I have on file that urban planning didn't have any issues. So my understanding here is that could be true. Public Works and Water and Waste departments have issues. In the report on page 4, it says water planning objects to this proposed street closing as there is an existing 250 meter water main within immediately adjacent to the proposed closing area. And the city requires space within the right of way to excavate down to the water main as required. And so to that end, you put conditions of approval should, in Appendix A, but can you walk me through the implications of these paragraphs on page 4?
Sure, yeah. So currently we do have an existing 250 millimeter water main. It's located approximately 3.95 meters from the property at 670 Corydon, which is basically right at the line of what's been requested to be closed and subdivided with the property. That would restrict our ability to excavate to the water main to complete any repairs if required. So, you know, in the on page 6, we put the condition that if this was approved, we would require an easement agreement that would provide us that same access. That easement agreement would require that there's no structures permitted within that closed area, so that we have maintained access for any maintenance in the future.
Can I ask it a different way? So, you know, right now there is a patio there. They want to extend it. Should you need access? Actually, no, I'm good. Is Public Works here? Hi. We'll just need
Oh,
you to
yeah,
turn
you
on your
did.
mic.
Just turn on your mic. No.
Maybe if you could call in, because his mic's not working. We don't have control over it, do we?
Unfortunately, no.
Okay.
Just give them a couple minutes. to leave.
Like we could take a recess just to settle the audio.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
want to take a recess?
Or do you want to recess
Hi,
this
can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah,
Oh, there you
there we
go.
go.
Perfect.
Yeah.
one? Bingo, got it.
Okay, apologies for that. Mike Shoes. Hi, I'm Keenan Patmore with Public Works Transportation.
Hi. Through the chair, on page 4 again, you have outlined Public Works concerns. I understand the concern with respect to the right-of-way for wider sidewalks. I think that that's self-explanatory, as is the impact on continuity of the right-of-way. Can you explain what you mean by utility placement? And which utility? And are you talking about the water main, essentially?
No apologies in this specific case, primarily talking to lighting, central on-street lighting, or any infrastructure related to potential upgrade to traffic signals or the pedestrian corridor that's currently located there. So in the future, if that was to change, there could be electrical components that would need to be placed in this area. And it would just restrict the ability and options for that.
And what in particular with respect to the lighting? What are you concerned with there?
This potential placement of future lighting poles, lighting standards if needed.
Okay, currently the lighting is in front of 670 and either side of Hugo. Is that what you mean? And going right up to essentially where they're proposing the lane. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So that's hearing from the public service. I have nothing further.
Okay. All right, seeing no other questions, we'll move on.
Okay. First, I'd like to invite the applicant, that'd be Amateur Law, or Amateur Law doesn't seem to be in attendance. So I'll have the first in support, that being Brenda Rodas, come up to speak on the matter.
Where would you like me to stand?
Just at the end there, please.
Good morning, Council.
Feel free to sit down and then the mic will catch you right at the head of the table there. Yeah.
We're recording it, so that's why we need you to.
My name is Brenda Rodas, and I'm the owner of Coliseo Restaurant at 670 Gordon Avenue. And as you can see on your diagrams there, we're located right on the corner of Gordon and Hugo. It's an existing patio that's been there since 1973. The restaurant has basically become a staple of the community. And all I want to do is give back to the community. I want to be able to provide all year round patio. I want to build an all season patio that we can all enjoy all year round. So I'm looking to ask for your, here to petition for, help me close this area so that I can give something back to the community and revive Gordon Avenue. Thank you for your time.
Questions?
Thank you so much for coming, and there is no question that Coliseo is such a fixture on Gordon, and you've enjoyed the large patio that you have, and you did so this summer. You want to expand the existing patio, or is this your footprint?
This is the footprint.
Okay. And so when the civil service says that the purchaser wishes to close and purchase the street, you do mean the component of the street that you're currently on.
Correct. So we're not changing any borders or anything like that. I just want to be able to rebuild the patio.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, though, too, that if it moves forward, the easements taken together with the purchase, it can be a multi-seasonal process. So on your behalf, I will ask the public service what that looks like for the 2026 patio season and 2027 patio season, because it isn't uncommon to have it tied up for many months in legal, and hydro isn't, of course, the city. So I'm concerned with the ongoing aspect of the patio season for Coliseo, because I don't think Coliseo, and this is a question for you, would want any interference in the patio season if it takes multiple years to get through the legal requirements of a hydro easement and the legal work of the purchase agreement. So, because that would impact revenue, the seasonal revenue in the summer, which they are hopping. So if she could reflect on that, that's my question.
Yeah, I would love it if somehow we could continue without having to impact the 2026, 2027 season.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's very important.
Yeah. So I am inclined to lay the matter over for one more month in order to have a bit of discussion, because I know something of the Gordon ambitions for parklets, sitting on the Gordon Viz, and you know, this has been Gordon over time has had every variation of our patio policy that the city ever has, including, as we know as a council, because I endeavored to fix it when I got on council, and differing charges. The city literally charged different fees based on square footing over time, depending on when people came onto line. So I really welcome the opportunity to kind of take a deeper dive, but I think I'll need more time, and also out of an abundance of protection, if it's okay, given that we're not in the summer season right now, although the patio is still hopping, that I will lay this matter over to the October meeting of City Center. I would like, though, the public service to confirm just the timelines associated with the legal work on the one hand. Theoretically, if City Center proceeds on this existing footprint purchase, that has been occupied by Coliseo ever since I got to Winnipeg in the 1990s. And the hydro, the timeline they're seeing from hydro, which isn't us. But one more question for Coliseo would be, could they clarify how long they've been on the footprint? How long has this footprint been in operation? Is it the exact footprint, or was there a different iteration of the size of the footprint of the patio?
I would have to get back to you on that, because I don't have the exact date as to when that footprint was started, but we're looking to do exactly as is. We're not looking to add anything. And we're willing to work with hydro and the water utility department as well.
Okay. And in the last few years, do you know of any water lighting or more that has taken place where you've accommodated the city works with respect to the patio?
I can tell you that since 2001, nothing has happened or changed on that area.
Okay. And the public service might be able to fill us in on the length of time the patio has been in operation in this configuration. That's all the questions I have, unless you have a reflection on whether time is of the essence in your application, or you can wait if we hold the hearing over till October. Okay. That's all my questions, other than for the public service survey.
So that's all the questions. Thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for your consideration and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, those are all that I've registered for support. I'm just taking a look at the gallery to see if there's anyone else who wishes to speak in support of the matter. I will note none. Next up, we have four in opposition. We have no one registered. Again, looking to the gallery to see if anyone wishes to speak in opposition to this matter. Noting no one. And lastly, for information, if we have no one registered. So again, to the gallery, if there's anyone who wishes to speak for information. No one. There's no one to note. Okay, and now questions of the public service of the committee.
Okay. So the patio is this footprint, yet the report, talks like it's the full street closing. Can you explain on page 3 why you're not making the distinction within the paper as to the difference between the existing patio? I note there's no backgrounds discussion or history discussion, and there's very little history discussion. So if you could fill in some of the gaps here.
I'm sorry, Counselor, I'm not really sure what you're asking me.
The report on page 3, sorry.
Yes.
The second paragraph of the executive summary says the public service does not support the proposed street closing. The proposed street closing would limit the city's ability to make future street modifications. So nowhere do I see that it is not the full street of Hugo closing, but a component of the existing footprint. Why is that clarification not being made? Is it your understanding they wish to purchase the full street and have Hugo close?
No, I mean, I guess this kind of got lost in a translation. To me, it was very straightforward that the portion of proposed closing would only be the outline of the existing patio. It never even crossed my mind, so that's on me. To me, it seemed very clear, but that's point taken. I don't really know what else to add to it.
Again, on page 3, it says before the road may be conveyed, it must be legally closed and declared surplus to the city's needs. Again, it seems to be talking about the whole street and not a component of the street that has the existing patio on it.
Yes, you're absolutely right, and that's on me. That's my mistake. I missed it, but it means just the part where the patio is currently sitting.
On page 4, it does then point to the aerial diagram, and then it says the intended use of the closed area will be for patio extending from the existing restaurant. The purchaser has a registered summer patio for the 2025 season. I believe it's important to note that the intended use and the purchased area that they're going for is in fact the registered summer patio for the 2025 season. Is that it? I believe that's important. Do you see that as an important?
I absolutely do, and like I said, I stand corrected, and you make a very valid point that perhaps that should have been worded much better.
What is the point of the Hugo Street was legally opened by Plan Number 208 on January 9, 1982, and renamed Hugo Street North? What is this?
You know what? That is simply just a little background that I have. Reviewing previous reports, it would have a little background information on when the street was originally created or renamed. It doesn't really have much of a bearing on the purchase of this portion of Hugo Street. It's just a little bit of background, a little bit of history.
Do we have any data on how many people pass by the corner going up Hugo, not to they're using the right of way of the sidewalk on the patio side, because the sidewalk on the patio side is still in place. So when it was circulated, did it make the distinction between the existing footprint, i.e. Appendix A here, what's in Appendix B, sorry, and Appendix C, or did it say street closure? And so therefore the Public Works, Water and Waste, and Hydro are expressing concerns related to utilities on the basis of the street versus the area on page 4.
Page 4.
So on page 4, it lists the circulation to city departments and utilities, and it has 3 bullets in the middle of the page in history discussion section, and it says if the street is closed, Manitoba Hydro will require easements. Bell MTS, Rogers Communications, Flex Network, etc., indicated that they have no concerns. Excellent. Terrace Bend Networks, Cable, and Winnipeg School Division 1 didn't respond, but Public Works and Water and Waste did. For Public Works and Water and Waste, I guess the question is, why do they feel that if this was purchased, the existing patio, that it would impact future street modifications and the water main? What is that a concern that they have with the existing patio that has been approved seasonally?
Yes, I believe that's what they addressed in in their response to my circulation.
And if they're still here, could they answer the same question? Water and waste, you know, do they have concerns with the existing patio that is seasonal?
So I believe the seasonal patio agreement gives the city a right for access if required in an emergency. If there was a water main failure, we would be able to access the property or what's currently the right of way to complete the repairs. So if it was closed and no longer city property, we would, without an easement, lose that ability.
Okay. You believe that the city loses the ability, if it's purchased, to do emergency repairs?
If the property is no longer city owned, then yes, we would require an easement agreement giving us access to the property to complete repairs.
Okay. Okay,
Can I ask
Yeah.
a question so in terms of where the actual area is where they have the balcony, or not balcony, but sorry, Sherry, can you help me out? What's it called?
where they
Patio,
the seasonal
patio. Is there underground work that the city has, our own infrastructure right underneath there, or is it underneath the walkway street that people would currently walk on?
It's our water main is essentially right on the edge of their patio right now. So it's a few inches within their proposed closing at the north end, and then it is back under the sidewalk by a few inches at the south end.
Yeah. Okay. So we require an easement, and you've provided some guidance to council to that end. Okay.
Yes, we would require an easement, and that easement agreement would restrict any permanent structures that would impact our ability to complete the maintenance.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
That concludes my questions. At this time, I'd probably move to lay over to the October meeting.
Just in case, we do offer the right to the applicant to have rebuttal. Brenda, being the
I want to maintain it open.
course, yeah.
So if she rebuts, I want to maintain the hearing open so
Of
that
course, yeah.
delegations can still continue.
Of course, yeah. Just,
Okay.
sorry. continue.
Okay, so we could rebut the next time. But go
Oh,
ahead.
each time we can have rebuttal. It's just address the comments made
Yeah.
from public service. If you would like that right to speak on any comments made.
You can come back if you want to speak to any comments that were just made. Sure, yeah. Sorry.
No.
So we're not closing public hearings, so you'd be able to come back and speak to this again when we come back next week, if you.
Next.
Next.
Yeah.
Can I get your permission for him to be the speaker?
Yes, if he
If he
I could just-
registers.
Yeah, I just need a quick to fill out in this form.
Oh, he can be the speaker too.
I just need his registration.
He just needs to register, that's all.
Oh,
It's not a problem.
I appreciate that. We can defer to our next hearing.
The next year, okay,
Just to keep it all concise.
yeah, okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Your help.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for.
Okay.
You called me first.
In that regard, we're on to motions now.
So the motion is to move the matter to the October Move the hearing to the October 27th meeting of the City Center Community Committee. So moved.
Okay, and sorry, just for the record, that'll be held at, it'll be scheduled for 10:30. Will be public hearings here at the council building, as the councilor stated, October 27th, 2025, and that reps will remain open, correct? Okay.
All right, all in favor? Motion is carried.
Okay, we'll move to the rezoning. I will call you.
Okay. Item 2 is a rezoning at 105 Clark Street under file DAZ 212/2025. In accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter and the Development Procedures Bylaw, this is a combined hearing and the following item will also be heard at the same time. Namely, item 3 is a variance at 105 Clark Street under file DAV 152386/2025D. And with that, please note communications were received in support of the matter, which have been distributed to all members of the committee. And I'll hand this over now to the planners.
So the subject site is located on the east side of Clark Street in the River Osborne neighborhood of the Fort Rouge East Fort Garry ward. This site is 8,648 square feet and is currently occupied by an apartment building built in 1912. The site is located within the established neighborhood policy area under Complete Communities 2.0, and the property is currently zoned RMFM for multifamily medium. The site is also located in an area covered by the Osborne Village Neighborhood Plan and is designated as medium density residential under that plan. The applicant is proposing to rezone to an RMFL, multifamily large district, in order to add 2 units to the existing building. No changes to the exterior of the building are proposed. The units will be added in the basement, and the total proposed density is 360 square feet of lot area per dwelling unit. The development also requires variances for lot area, density, yards, landscaping, and parking requirements, which are detailed under the associated variance application. The public service supports the proposed rezoning and variances. The development meets several intents and policies outlined in our Winnipeg CCDS and the Osborne Village Neighborhood Plan, and the proposal provides increased residential density that will help the city achieve its residential intensification targets. Also, the applicant's commitment to adding indoor bicycle parking as part of the expansion provides an amenity for building residents. That's all.
Oh, any questions for Rovi? Okay,
We've done so many of these.
sounds good. Okay, I'll invite now the applicant. I've registered Daria Powell. Okay, who doesn't seem to be in attendance today. So next. Okay, sorry, your name is?
Sean Roger.
Okay, yeah, for sure. I can invite you to speak on behalf of the applicant, yes.
I only have one comment, just maybe a minor correction. These are pre-existing units that were.
Sorry to interrupt, can you just restate who you are again for the
Sorry,
record?
Sean Roach with Forward Properties.
Perfect, thank you.
These are existing units that pre-existed, I believe, even before our purchase of the property. So we're just trying to get them in alignment with the city's requirements.
All right, seeing no other questions, thanks very much. Okay.
Okay, that is it for those registered in support. Looking to the gallery to see if there's anyone wishing to speak. Noting no one. Next is opposition. We have no one registered in opposition. Looking to the gallery to see if there's anyone wishes to speak in opposition. No one. Noting no one. And finally, for information, we have no one registered for information, and looking to the gallery to offer the chance to anyone speaking for information. And we have no one who wishes to. So now I will turn this back if the committee has any questions for the public service.
No, I'm ready for motions.
Okay, and there's no request for rebuttal. There was no comments. Okay. Okay.
That the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read, so moved.
Motion is carried.
That the receipt of public representations be concluded with thanks, so moved.
Motion carried.
That the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be concurred in and forwarded to the Executive Policy Committee via the priority rezoning process.
Motion carries.
In terms of supporting reasons, Thorwin Properties is taking a great deal of expense and time to come into compliance with the bylaw. 2 additional suites. I wish we could waive all costs to just get the density up in the building. So I really appreciate them coming today. We've done a few of these. I feel that it should be a little cheaper than it is, but I want to thank everybody for doing it, whether it's 2 or 4 suites that we've seen built into existing building. I'm really appreciative that people go through the priority rezoning process, and I'm very appreciative that they can do that and that they spend the money to do it. That I want to recognize that they're doing, and additional bike space is a bonus. So moved, and that the public hearing with respect to this application be concluded.
Motion is carried.
Okay, so just for clarity, that both that was concurred in with the being sent to the Executive Policy Committee via rezoning, that was moved and concurred, as well as that the application is concluded, correct?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll move on to the
Oh, sorry,
variance.
I just have the final vote. Please note that the committee has made a recommendation on this matter that will now proceed to council. No further representations are permitted on the subdivision and rezoning. All persons registered for the public hearing will receive notice when the matter is to be considered by council.
I'll move on to the variance of the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
Motion is carried.
That the receipt of public representations be concluded.
Motion is carried.
That in accordance with subsection 2473 of the City of Winnipeg Charter, the variance is consistent with Plan Winnipeg, and any applicable secondary plan does not create a substantial adverse effect on the amenities, use, safety, and convenience of the adjoining property and adjacent area, including an area separated from the property by street or waterway, is the minimum modification of a zoning bylaw required to relieve the injurious effects of the zoning bylaw on the applicant's property, and is compatible with the area which the property to be affected is situated, supporting reasons same as the previous rezoning hearing. So moved.
Motion carried.
That the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be concurred in and the variance be approved. So moved.
Motion carried.
That the public hearing with respect to this application be concluded with thanks to Thorwin Properties. So moved.
Motion is carried.
Okay, please note that the committee's decision with respect to this application may be appealed. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included in the order issued, which will be mailed to all persons registered. Okay, that concludes the public hearings, but we have a new
We have
business.
new business. So,
Just a motion for new business, if that's okay.
Motion for new business, please.
motion is carried.
Okay, and perhaps a recess for the final revisions to the motions.
Okay, if you'd like, we'll do a little bit of a recess and come back in 3 minutes with the rest of the motions, and thanks to the public service for being here.
Okay, we're back, everybody. I think we have some motions. Councilor Rollins.
Thank you. A few updates at City Center, looking for them for October and hoping that the public service and the relatives, the relevant standing policy committees would be amenable to allow us to do a bit of a deeper dive in some of these City Center amenities and of course pertaining to transit. So the first one, it pertains to the Millennium Library. It's a flagship library, as we know, in the system, but it is situated in the Fort Regis Fort Garry Ward downtown within the City Center community jurisdiction. So looking for a motion here that would be going to community services for support, so that the City Center Community Committee recommends to the Standing Policy Committee on Community Services, the Winnipeg Public Service be directed to provide a verbal report on the Millennium Library, including the use of the community connection space and lobby renovation, including the Winnipeg Public Service report concerning the same at the next meeting of City Center Community Committee, which is taking place October 27th, 2025. So moved.
And motion is carried.
And then the second motion is concerning community safety hosts at Cindy Klassen Community Center. They've been doing excellent work and are excellent resources in public safety. And the resolution here is that the Standing Policy Committee on Community Services be requested to direct the Winnipeg Public Service to provide a verbal update to the City Center Community Committee on the Cindy Klassen pool regarding the community safety hosts at the meeting on October 27th, 2025. So moved.
Okay. Motion is carried.
And then finally, the city center neighborhoods have particular ambitions for the private transit network transition that we're seeing take place since July 1st. So the resolution here is that the City Center Community Committee recommend to the Standing Policy Committee on Public Works that the Winnipeg Public Service be directed to provide a verbal private transit network update to the City Center Community Committee at its October 27th, 2025 meeting. So moved.
Okay, and the motion is carried. All right, that is it for the motions.
And a motion to conclude the meeting.
And motion to
adjourn.
adjourn, and motion is carried. Thanks, everybody, for coming today.